Hello, friends. Welcome to our Sunday streaming services coming at you on Facebook, YouTube, and of course here on Zoom. If you're joining us, welcome. Try to stick around afterwards as we have community time. We call it Talk Back, and we can talk about the service and whatever else is going on in the world. So think about joining us. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, go and subscribe to get notifications when we have new videos. We have awesome videos. Today's service is When the Darkness Seems Too Much, the Light Side of the Dark with Sarah Ricke. She always does something around Samhain time on the topic of darkness, and it's always just really cool to hear because it's a very different take on the ideas of darkness. In addition to Sunday streaming services, we have other ways to connect with your church, including Facebook, Instagram, the e-blast for all of your news. Just go to oakcliffuu.org and subscribe to that, and our YouTube channel. If you missed the fall parish meeting last week, you missed me saying how awesome my team is doing and hearing just lots of really great news about the church. Seriously, very, very positive stuff. It was so great. You can still access the recording on our Facebook Talkback group or under the membership section of the membership/church business section of our website. You will need to log in to do that. You can create an account when you're over there. If you are needing pastoral care, please contact Deneen at pastoralcare@oakcliffuu.org, and also join our 2 weekly Zoom check-ins and chats, Tuesdays at 9 a.m. and Fridays at 9 p.m. I know a lot of people have said that they've gotten some really, really good stuff out of that. Deneen is amazing, so hit her up. Our online auction fundraiser, still in the works. Still could use your help. It's so much fun. A lot of people have already donated. You can donate things that you have, something new, but also something that maybe you have around the house that is really cool, but just you don't really have use for anymore, and somebody else might enjoy it. If you have something to donate or you'd like to help participate in the fundraiser, email Donna Leach at auctions@oakcliffuu.org. And if you are an artist or craftsperson who would like to donate something you've made and receive a portion of the purchase price, then same email address, but address it to Nancy Harms. The Haunted Forest, oh my gosh, so much fun. We went, we had a blast. People were taking pictures with my kid. It was cool. And they did an excellent job scaring them too. It was so much fun. We were there the entire 2 hours. So we have one more date left, and that is Halloween night. A lot of fun things have been put on hold this year because of COVID, but this we're still doing. We are very safe. Social distancing and masks are required. So if you want to help participate in some spooky Halloween fun and also help your church, we really could use it. That's building up. I think build up starts about 11 a.m. Tear down after it's over at 9:30, and also tour guides or somebody to, you want to scare the kids, you want to be just a part of it in any way. We need something from everybody. So please visit our Sign Up Genius to see what is still needed. Link, right? It's right here. And please help out. Or if you can't help out, go visit it. Like I said, we are super safe around here. We don't go to the grocery store even. We do the pickup and everything, but we went to this and it was social distance. It was great. It was a lot of fun. And honestly, it was really, 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 really good to see everybody again. I have to admit, I kept making them break character because I was with the kids like, ooh, so spooky. And then I'm like, oh my God, hey Joey, how are you doing? Kathy, oh my God, you look amazing. So I mean, that's me. It was a lot of fun. So go do it. And if anything, just spread the flyer on Facebook. Just tell all your friends about it. Let them know that we have this really fun, awesome event that's social distance and safe, and that they should go. So yeah, sorry, I really like Halloween, and this is our last week to do this. Thank you to everyone who's participated, by the way. All right. Another big shout out. Shout out to Kenneth Jackson, the board, the endowment committee, Rita Jackson, and our roofer Hile for fixing the roof. Oh my gosh. Did you know that roofs are super important for a building? I know. Ours was broken. Now it's fixed. Thank you to everybody who made that happen. Yes. If you volunteer your time or talent to any of these wonderful functions for your church, please make sure that you log your time so that we can turn it into grant money. You can do this in Breeze. Go to Breeze, put your money. There are also ways to support your church financially. oakcliffuu.org/donate. Amazon Smile if you're using Amazon. I Give if you're using anything else. The text to give option, which I know some of you are big fans of, and our Facebook donate button. If you are new, welcome, welcome, welcome. Consider signing our guest book at oakcliffuu.org/guest. We would love to know that you are here. And if you found us on Facebook, let me know that, because I do the Facebook and I love it when people talk good about me. There are no member anniversaries, but as you see by the brand new birthday crown, it's my birthday this week. What? So let's just, celebrate me and all the amazingness that is me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me and Nancy Johnstone, because we have the same birthday. Happy birthday to us. So yay, lots of fun, anniversaries, but we got me. All right, I hope that you all have a wonderful Sunday. Happy Sunday.
Welcome to this morning, this day, and this opportunity to be together in community, which is a time of joy, comfort, and sometimes challenges. This Unitarian Universalist congregation is a place where we come to learn more about being human. We're not here because we figured out life's questions or because we think we've got it right. We've come here to learn more about being in a relationship together, how to listen, how to forgive, how to be vulnerable, and how to create trust and compassion in one another. Let us move into worship, willing to be authentic with each other, within ourselves, and opening to connection in all its forms.
May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, Spirit of love, compassion, and forgiveness.
Que esta luz que ahora encendemos nos inspire a usar nuestros dones y poderes para sanar y no para herir, para ayudar y no para impedir, para bendecir y no para maldecir, para servirte a ti, espíritu de amor, compasión y perdón.
Gather we now into this space, this time when the wheel turns and the veil shatters. Gather we now to remember, to grieve, to prophecy, to complete our harvests before the long dark comes. Gather we now to tell the old stories and sing the old songs, to be as we have always been, the voice of our people eternal. Gather we now to celebrate that which was, that which is, and that which will be. Gather we now, as we always have done, united by story and bound by love.
Return again. again. Return to the home of your soul. Return to who you are. Return to what you are. Return to where you are. Born and reborn again. Return to who you are. Return to what you are. Return to where you are. Born and reborn again. Return again. Return again. Return to the home of your soul.
Because we love one another, we honor each individual's spiritual journey. We celebrate life, abundance, and service to each other, our community, and the world. We connect with each other in love, respect, and acceptance. Thus do we covenant together.
And now in Spanish. Porque nos amamos uno al otro, honramos el viaje espiritual de cada individuo. Celebramos la abundancia de la vida en el servicio a entre sí, nuestra comunidad y el mundo. Ponemos en contacto a unos con otros en el amor, respeto y aceptación, así que hacemos pacto.
You are not alone with your sorrow, just as I am not alone with mine. Our covenant of right relations makes this so. You and I are bound by our promise to commune. In community, the burden of a heavy heart is shared. A burden shared is a burden lightened. At this time, we invite you to publicly post your sorrows and prayer requests to the Zoom chat or send those to our Facebook Messenger.
When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love.
This Sunday, like every Sunday, we reaffirm our promise to one another. Our promise makes clear the call to celebrate, for that which brings you joy, makes you grateful, brings you peace. We, your sacred community, celebrate. We celebrate together and magnify joy, heighten gratitude, and spread ever-increasing peace. Please share your joys publicly in the Zoom chat or send those to our Facebook Messenger or speak those aloud now.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart of the stirrings of compassion. life, the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Good morning, merry meet, and a blessed Samhain to you all. It's always nice to have so many lovely faces here for the holiday that I've so happily commandeered at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Oak Cliff. And this holiday, Samhain, is a very sacred holiday for myself and many others who follow the earth-centered religious paths. We often consider it the new year. Samhain is a time to celebrate the harvest and the lives of our loved ones, as well as the growing darkness of the approaching winter and the stillness it brings to our lives. Samhain is not to be confused with Halloween, even if they coincide and share a number of very fun activities. Halloween comes to us from All Hallows Eve, a Catholic holiday created to replace the Gaelic pagan tradition of Samhain. The Roman Catholic Church had to adapt the holiday in order to accommodate the common peoples of northern France, Britannia, and Ireland, who, upon being forced to convert to Christianity, still refused to leave their cultural traditions behind. Originally, Samhain was considered the final harvest festival of the Celtic peoples. Unlike here in Texas, where the end of October brings only the vaguest promise of cooler temperatures, the Northern European climate where Samhain originates would become bitterly cold this time of year. Often snow would fall even in early October, and the ground was often frozen solid all the way through. Any crops left in the fields would be rotted from the frost, and sheep and cattle would have to be brought in to safe pastures for the winter, shepherds needing to cull livestock not healthy enough to survive the coming season. Samhain marked the beginning of winter for the Celtic people, and being an agrarian society, their life would pretty much grind to a halt until spring thaws allowed for planting again. With the abundance of the harvest and the rare opportunity to feast on fine meats, many offerings for the gods and ancestors would be placed on altars and left in fields as thanks for the bounty of summer. Celtic people often only recognized two seasons, summer and winter, and Samhain was both the turning point of the seasons as well as the end of the new year and the beginning of the new. It was, and still very much is, considered a natural boundary. And by this, I mean a boundary between the physical world and the spiritual one. Like many other cultures, Celtic people practiced ancestor veneration to honor the dead as thanks for bringing life and prosperity, and sometimes even guidance to their families. That the dead could visit the living as spirits was a fact of life, and Samhain, as a boundary between the old and the new, summer and winter, life and death, was a time where the restrictions between the physical and the spiritual were lifted. In modern times, we like to call this the thinning of the veil, where the living can touch the dead and the dead can touch the living. One of the most famous hallmarks of the season, jack-o'-lanterns, have their origin in this tradition. As a light placed inside of a carved root vegetable or a gourd, a jack-o'-lantern served as both a food offering and a light to guide family spirits home. You see this holiday mirrored in various cultures from around the world. Dia de la Muerta in Mexico, Chuseok in Korea, Obon in Japan. The holidays don't always fall on the same day, but the essence remains the same. They are a celebration of the harvest and the veneration of the dead, a time when powers beyond the light can touch us and we can touch them back. Samhain, the final harvest for all its festivities, is a holiday that leads us from the light of summer into the darkness of the year. Because in winter, especially in agrarian societies like the Celtic people had, it is incredibly quiet and exceedingly still. Today, modern pagans have something of a dilemma on our hands. The most famous founder of the most popular pagan path in America, Wicca, was Gerald Gardner. And back in the 1940s, he claimed to have discovered and been initiated into an unbroken line of witches still practicing pagan and magical traditions from since before the Roman Catholic Church butchered their way across Europe. Most of us by now realize that that story is a bunch of bunk, but every religion needs a good mythological foundation, so we'll give credit where credit is due. Gardner pulled magic and polytheism out of backrooms and smoky speakeasies and gave it back legitimacy as a spiritual path to people of European descent. But the truth is, we don't have an unbroken line of tradition going back to before Jesus revolutionized the Hebrew faith. The Roman Catholic Church did a very good job of razing ancient temples and sacred groves to the ground. What pockets of pagan traditions remain in Europe are isolated and often heavily influenced by centuries of overshadowing from Christianity. Modern pagans such as myself are forced to be kinds of archaeologists, picking up pieces of mythology, testing their authenticity, and trying to imagine how they would fit into modern life. We are, each of us, religious reconstructionists, trying to picture how paganism might have been if Charlemagne hadn't been such an efficient butcher, and our cultural traditions might have been allowed to continue to the modern era. In this, modern pagans have created a new kind of mythology for ourselves, based on old stories and traditions that survive despite the odds. One of the most important is called the Wheel of the Year, a cyclical view of time that marks the seasons as part of our attempts to reconnect to the natural world, and it serves as the base for our holidays. In general, pagans celebrate two kinds of holidays. There are Espets, the lunar holidays, that fall on the 12 to 13 full moons of the year. Many of us also celebrate various phases of the moon, the waxing or the waning, and the new moon as well. All the lunar holidays are meant to celebrate the goddess, the divine feminine. And a lot of paganism focuses on the goddess and that reclamation of women as holy in response to the lack of the divine feminine in modern Christianity. In addition to the Espets, there are also the Sabbats, and these are solar holidays that follow the sun and honor the god, or the divine masculine, as well as the goddess in equity. There are two kinds of Sabbats: the quarters, which fall on the celestial solar events, the solstices and the equinoxes that mark the seasons, and the cross quarters, sometimes called fire festivals, that are the midway points between each of the quarter holidays. These 8 Sabbats make up what is called the Wheel of the Year. There's Yule, the winter solstice, on December 21st, Imbolc, or Candlemas, on February 1st, Ostara, the vernal equinox, on March 21st, Beltane, or May Day, on May 1st, Litha, the summer solstice, on June 21st, Lammas, the first harvest, on August 1st, and Mabon, the autumnal equinox, on September 21st. Finally, there is Samhain, the final harvest, on October 31st. The wheel of the year runs counterintuitive to modern understanding of time. It's not linear, one year after another, marching forever forward. The wheel of the year instead sees time as a repetition of patterns. The Sabbats mark the turning of the seasons, whether we are tilted toward or away from the sun, whether we are in a season of light or darkness. We forever go back and forth. Spring and summer are considered the seasons of light, where fall and autumn are the seasons of darkness. The winter solstice, December 21st, is the darkest night of the year. It is, however, also a turning point in terms of power between light and dark. For though the winter solstice is the longest night and the shortest day, from henceforth, the powers of light will continue to grow. And the powers of holy dark are forced to make way for the holy light again. It is Samhain, not the winter solstice, which marks the greatest point of darkness in the wheel of the year. The autumnal equinox is over a full lunar cycle in the past, and the rest of autumn and all winter stretches before us. Now, again, within modern pagan culture, we've reclaimed the concept of the wheel of the year in an effort to return to a more natural spiritual path in line with the earth, which we consider to be sacred. As part of that reclamation, and to celebrate both the divine masculine and the divine feminine, God and goddess, a myth has been partially recounted, partially created, of a cycle of life and death. The god and goddess are young and in love in spring as the warrior and the maiden, then lush and fertile in the summer as king and mother. As the year turns to autumn, however, in August on the first harvest of Lammas, the god as king is sacrificed, and the goddess takes on the aspects of the crone, the wise elder, and in this darkest aspect of herself, rules over the waning year until God is reborn on the solstice. This period of mourning, this waiting for rebirth, is a mirror to the stillness of winter. The world is frozen and snow keeps everyone inside. Winter was a time for all the things you do at home, by yourself, alone. A natural quarantine, if you will, that happened every year. And as we know from this year, as hard as it can be sometimes, this waiting, this stillness is a very necessary part of life. It's a lesson, too, often neglected in the constant hustle and bustle of modern life. We've moved away from living by the seasons to living by numbers ticking away on a clock. Everything goes much, much faster, and yet we never seem to be done. There's never any time for ourselves, so there's never any time to be ourselves. Dion Fortune, a prominent pagan author, once wrote, "For the ultimate answer to most of life's problems, almost inevitably, lies within oneself." We need time with ourselves, by ourselves, to truly understand ourselves. It's something of a tongue twister, but the concept is really rather simple. Knowing oneself is a critical part of living, if only for your own mental health. When you're talking about your spiritual health, however, it becomes even more important. So many religions try to ask you, do you know God, or do you know Jesus? But the real question you need to be asking yourself is, do you know yourself? In the Tao Te Ching, the Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu said, "Returning to the source is stillness, which is the way of nature. The way of nature is unchanging. Knowing constancy is insight." As pagans, we want to connect with nature. We see the earth as a divine being, the Holy Mother of all. There are so many in monotheistic faiths that call upon Father God. Instead, we call upon the Mother Nature. But in order to have that spiritual relationship, we need to realize that a relationship takes two people. In contrast to religions like Christianity, I don't see gods as all-powerful or all-knowing. They are far, far, far more powerful than I am, to be sure. But gods are aspects of nature and the divine with their own powers, their own personalities, and their own purposes. And they deign to take forms that mere mortals such as you and I might be able to comprehend. But there's no point in trying to decipher the wonders of the universe, the powers of the divine, if you can't figure your own self out first. For how will you know the voice of God if you've never learned to separate it from your own? Lao Tzu also wrote, "To the mind that is still, the whole universe surrenders." Self-awareness is the foundation of spiritual awareness. And self-awareness does not happen unless you stop and make time for it to happen. And this, the Sabbath of Samhain, is the season of stillness and the time to make time for yourself. In past Samhain services I've done here at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Oak Cliff, I've asked people to confront some very heavy aspects of Samhain: the darkness, the death, the darker parts of our own hearts and emotions. Those are all still very important, but I think after everything that's happened this year, we've done enough of that. So instead, this year, I'm asking you to confront a different part of Samhain, a lighter part of this dark holiday. And that is the stillness and the waiting. I ask you to stop. It's harder than you think it is. I had the extremely good fortune of not being out of a job during this COVID-19 pandemic. I sometimes worked some crazy hours, but my job still needed people, and my bills don't pay themselves, so in I went. We still closed for 2 weeks as corporate commanded a deep cleaning of everything it could think of. And the first week of vacation was nice. I lounged around, I read a few books, I played some video games. Not much got done. The second week, however, I went stir crazy. I painted an entire painting from start to finish, and I cleaned and I organized my entire house, including the closets. Now, I've had ADHD since I was a child, and still this does not come naturally for me. I can't handle more than a week of vacation at a time, which is why I went crazy and cleaned everything. So when I chose paganism, Wicca, as my spiritual path, I, in my typical enthusiasm, dove in head first. I was really excited, and I wanted to learn everything, try everything, all of the different practices that I could put into effect, even meditation, especially meditation. It was a way to calm down, control my awful temper, and connect with the spiritual plane all at once. Yes, please. Turns out I was really bad at it. Meditation is a skill. Some people have more talent for it than others. And unfortunately, I was one of those people who needed to work on it a little bit more than others. My ADHD brain doesn't want to do nothing. it doesn't want to try to focus on just one thing. That's a great way to guarantee my thoughts are going to bounce around like a ping pong ball on acid. And this was in the early noughts, before smartphones, so the proliferation of Wi-Fi. YouTube didn't even exist, and I had no idea guided meditations were even a thing. I also suffered from both anxiety and depression. And as icon for Hire, my favorite band, put so bluntly in their music, sometimes the last thing you need is more time alone inside yourself. When you don't know who you are, and especially when criticism and insults are the way you're used to speaking about yourself, learning about yourself can be a painful process. Nevertheless, persist. If Samhain gifts you with anything else, let it be to teach you to be patient, especially with yourself, to survive this waiting with a little bit more understanding to call your own. It's hard work slogging through the marshes of your mind, but the art of self-reflection was never meant to be easy. Nothing worthwhile is ever really easy. And self-awareness is a worthy goal. You are a worthy goal. A monumental disagreement I have with most modern monotheistic religion is the concept of giving oneself entirely up to God. First of all, I'm pagan, I'm polytheistic, and I believe in all sorts of gods. So you always have to ask yourself, well, which one? But more importantly, no, just no. To give yourself up? Again, even if I realize that the gods are more powerful than I could ever hope to be, I still don't view them as all-powerful. No matter how much more powerful they are than me, I still have power. I am not powerless. We all have a spark of the divine within us, and no matter how much smaller mine might be in comparison, it's still there. Yours is still there. That spark of the divine, that piece of the greater whole, it's a tiny jewel you'll never find if you don't dig. It's the softest bell you'll never hear chime if you don't listen. But it's there. You have to put in a lot of hard work, and you have to be prepared to really and truly pay attention and listen. But it is there. A huge part of my spiritual path, of Wicca and neo-paganism, is dedicated to the reclamation of personal power, especially in the wake of this spiritual infantilization that runs so strongly in the faith I was raised in. Thankfully, that idea is starting to die. Pope Francis once said, in regards to praying to end world hunger, first you pray for the hungry, then you feed them. That is how prayer works. That is how prayer works. That is how spirituality works. That is how spiritual practice works. We are all of us hungry for that connection to both each other and the divine. But we get so caught up in the expected servitude and the benevolence of feeding others that we often forget to feed ourselves. We all need to make time to do both. Living here now in Texas in 2020 is very different from Scotland 300 before the Common Era. The trees are still green. Their leaves are only just beginning to turn gold and fall. And it's barely cool enough, even in the depths of night, to even really feel like a whisper of autumn. The pandemic has shut down any chances of harvest festivals or even farmers markets, and the constant screaming of politicians telling us who to vote for and what to think as the election draws to a close invades the season's natural peace like a rattlesnake. But Samhain is still here. Winter is still here, and it calls the whole world to a standstill. We all miss the sunlight, the parties, and I promise you they will come again. But until then, we will wait. Blessed be.
I walk the unfrequented road with open eye and ear. I watch afield the farmer load the bounty of the year. I filch the fruit of no one's toil, no trespasser am I, and yet I reap from every soil and from the boundless sky. I gather where I did not sow, and bind the mystic sheaf. The amber where the rivers flow, the rustle of the leaf. A beauty springtime never knew haunts all the quiet ways, and sweeter shines the landscape through its veil of autumn haze. I face the hills, the streams, the wood, and feel with all akin. My heart expands their fortitude, and peace and joy flow in.
Let there be an offering to sustain and strengthen this place, which is sacred to so many of us, a community of memory and hope, for we are now the keepers of the dream. To make an offering or your pledge, please go to oakcliffuu.org/donate and follow the links. Thank you.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. De ti yo recibo, a ti te doy. Así compartimos y vivimos hoy. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. De ti yo recibo, a ti te doy. Así compartimos y vivimos hoy.
We leave this gathered community, but we don't leave our connection, our concerns, our care for each other. Our service to each other and the world and to our faith continues until we are together again, friends. Be strong, be well, be true, be loving.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
And now in Spanish. Extinguimos esta llama, pero no la luz de la verdad, el calor de comunidad o el fuego de nuestro compromiso. Estos los llevaremos en el corazón hasta que estemos juntos otra vez.
Points us